questions, questions orales. The honourable member for Calgary-Midnapore.
Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister said that he would be guided by a new fiscal discipline. He said that he would limit operational expenditures to no greater than an increase of 2%. Yet he's presented a bill of $500 billion to Canadians. Single mothers, seniors, small businesses all make a budget before they spend. You would think that a highly esteemed banker would know that and would do that. So is he really committed to a new fiscal discipline? Or is he just like the last guy?
L'honorable ministre des Finances et du Revenu national.
Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to be back in the House, and it's a pleasure to deliver for Canadians, Mr. Speaker. We are delivering on our plans to make life more affordable in Canada, Mr. Speaker. The first measure we introduced was a tax cut for 22 million Canadians. There are Canadians in our riding that are going to benefit from the tax cut. We're eliminating GST on first-time home buyers for their new house, Mr. Speaker, and we are removing the consumer carbon price from law, Mr. Speaker. Together, we're going to build Canada strong, and I hope the Conservative will join us in that.
The honourable member for Calgary-Midnapore.
Well, Mr. Speaker, Liberals never learn and they never keep their promises. The Treasury Board President said in the last Parliament that she would find savings of $7.1 billion on high-paid consultants. Instead, this government is now spending another $6 billion on high-paid consultants. Wow. The Prime Minister said that he would limit increases in operational spending of no greater than 2%. Yet he's presented a $500 billion bill to Canadians. So who is the Prime Minister going to choose, Canadians or his friends?
Right.
Yeah.
L'honorable ministre des Finances et du Revenu national.
Mr. Speaker, it is very clear we have already chosen Canadians, and Canadians have chosen us, Mr. Speaker, to lead this nation, to build a more ambitious Canada, to build a strong Canada, to build the best economy in the G7. Together on this side of the House, we're going to build the Canada of the future, Mr. Speaker.
Full member for Calgary-Midnapore.
Monsieur le Président, le Premier ministre.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said that he would be guided by a new level of fiscal discipline. He promised to limit spending, and yet now he has brought in legislation that would include expenses of billions of dollars in additional spending despite the complete lack of budget. Even small businesses make a budget before moving forward. Why would a banker not do the same thing? Will he finally show a certain level of fiscal discipline, or is he going to be just like the Prime Minister before him? The Honourable Minister of Finance and National Revenue. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for her question. As she has seen, we are presenting an ambitious plan for Canadians. And the very first measure we brought in was a middle-class tax cut that will affect 22 million people in her riding who will benefit. Then we said that we would be eliminating the GST for first buyers of new builds. That will enable us to have a resilient economy, a strong economy, the strongest one in the G7.
For Simcoe North.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is asking Parliament to approve almost $500 billion in spending, up 8% from last year. Nothing says spend less and invest more like spending more money on high-priced consultants and contractors. That's going up to $26 billion a year, over 35% increase. Wow. Is the kind of change this government trying to deliver to push civil servants out to bring their friends and high-priced consultants like McKinsey back in?
Oh, good question. Good question.
L'honorable ministre des Finances et du Revenu national.
I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we're focusing on result. And you know what? The first measure that we have introduced in this Parliament is to help 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. People in every riding. Canadians are watching at home and are wondering, are the Conservatives going to support them? Are they going to support this government? Because Canadians know that we have their back and we're going to fight for them at every step of the way.
The honourable member for Nanaimo Ladysmith.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said he wants to spend less and invest more, but this week his government tabled a $500 billion spending bill with no budget. While 15,000 people use loaves and fishes, the food bank in my riding, this government has increased spending on consultants by a jaw-dropping $6 billion, a massive increase of 36%. Consultants get a $26.1 billion gift that makes every household in Canada $1,400 poorer. Is the Prime Minister's reckless spending the real reason why there's no budget this spring?
The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my colleague for her question. I'm very proud to be part of this new government that's fighting for Canadians day one with a proposed bill that's going to make life more affordable for 22 million Canadians. That's an average of $840 per family in income tax reduction. This is giving real help to Canadians, and I'm very proud that we're delivering on day one. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I apologize to the member for Long Range Mountains. It's her turn.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister claims he's different from his predecessor, but the numbers tell a different story. In his own first spending bill, consultants get a record-setting $26.1 billion, up more than 36% in 1 year.
Terrible.
The government talks about restraint, but this is $500 billion of spending without a budget. Single moms, seniors, and small businesses must budget before they spend. How come a brilliant banker cannot do the same?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister for Government Transformation, Public Works and Procurement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the question a lot of Canadians are asking is how come Conservatives can't get behind the idea of supporting 22 million Canadians with a tax break that's going to make life more affordable for Canadians by eliminating GST on new homes, which is going to help new home buyers. Mr. Speaker, our plan is ambitious to grow this economy, to make life more affordable for Canadians, and I'm hoping Conservatives will see the light and rally behind this ambitious plan for Canada. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akia Wenrock. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, during the throne speech, in his speech, the King was very clear. And this is something that shows what he felt about our previous Liberal government. He said that this government will be guided by a new level of fiscal discipline. And yet, very quickly, we see that in this new legislation that there will actually be an increase of $40 billion in spending, 8% more. It's hard to believe that these people could do worse than Justin Trudeau. How can this Prime Minister stand up and tell Canadians that he's actually going to do worse than Justin Trudeau? The Honourable Minister of Finance and National Revenue. Mr. Speaker, my colleague for Louis Saint Laurent knows that I respect him greatly. Yes, I'm sorry, I got the riding name wrong. But if he's talking about being able to stand up and look people in the eye, well, of course we can do that because there is a tax cut for 22 million Canadians. So the Prime Minister will be able to look people in the eye, and I hope my colleague will be able to do the same. He will be able to tell his constituents that he is voting for that tax cut and showing that he cares about Canadians. I would invite him to vote in favor. The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent Akia Wenrock. Well, Mr. Speaker, the King was quite cutting when he said that we need a new approach to fiscal discipline. You'd think that this would be an opportunity to change how things are done. But on the contrary, this government is actually increasing the amount spent on consultants. I could never have thought that the Minister of Finance would actually do something that was worse than what Justin Trudeau did. Will he get up, look Canadians in the eye, and say that he will finally start being a responsible steward of the fiscal the fiscal system, not like Justin Trudeau? The Honourable Minister of Government Transformation, Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, you know which party Quebecers really were cutting towards. They cut the number of Conservative seats. After all, they didn't want a party whose plan was barely worth the paper it was printed on. Instead, they chose a plan to make the government more efficient, make the economy more resilient, and make life more affordable. And that's what we're doing with a tax cut for 22 million Canadians, $840 per family. I hope the member across the way will support that plan.